Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Cecilia, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from Goliath Resources. Please note, you can submit questions in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings through the Schedule Meetings tab found on the conference platform. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Roger Rasmus, founder, CEO, and director of Goliath Resources, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol GOTRF and on the TSXV under the symbol GOT. Welcome, Roger.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone who's tuning in for this presentation, taking the time to learn about Goliath, a company I started back in 2017 with the vision of essentially, possibly finding the next sort of big deposit, sort of SK Creek style, the original discovery back in the day that put the Golden Triangle on the map. And as it turns out, we've drilled around 65,000 meters to date within 10 cumulative months over 3 seasons. And we're definitely on track of a brand new discovery of high-grade gold, primarily gold, so with some silver, over an area of 1.8 square kilometers. We've got multiple stacked vein systems with bonanza grades in all 3. It does remain open as well. Some people ask all the time, why wasn't this discovery made years and years ago? And the simple answer is this is quite a mountainous area. It was covered under glaciers and permanent snowpack until recent time. And ultimately, we got lucky and found this outcropping zone, mineralization for over 2 kilometers at surface, with 700 meters of vertical relief. So we even had a 3D model of the system even before we drilled it. It's made drill program back in 2021. With that, I'll continue on here. Forward-looking statements. Board and team, by way of background, essentially I'm an investment banker, mergers, acquisitions for many years in Toronto. Spent about 30 years there in that sector, working with a number of my directors that are currently sitting on the board here. I've known them for 20 plus years in similar type of roles, financing them, being on boards with them, etc. And the new team or team member is Dr. Quentin Henning, who's an advisor to the company, as well as obviously a geological technical advisor to Crescat Capital, who is Crescat is one of our largest shareholder, fund based out of Denver, Colorado. Share structure, we just have over 100 million shares issued outstanding, and we've got some warrants, 32 million, and options as well. Average strike of the options for management and team is about $1.17. So fully diluted, about 143 million shares. And if that was the case, that would bring in just close to $38 million of fresh capital into the treasury. Currently, right now, sitting at about 80 cents Canadian trading, represents about 11.8 million of warrants that are in the money. Average strike on those are about 51 cents. And then again, just back up to the board and team, we've got about 19% of the company on a partially diluted basis. Crescat Capital, about 18.4. We do have a strategic institutional group in there that are just sub 10%. Mr. Eric Sprott, he owns around 4% of the company, and a recent addition to the share registry is Mr. Rob McEwen. And then straight to the bottom here, we've had essentially we closed at 84 cents. I guess it was December the 1st. We had a 52-week high of $1.25 and a 52-week low of 53 cents. And if you look at the 52-week volume, we've traded quite a lot of stock, about 66 million shares with a VWAP around 80 cents. So liquidity for us hasn't really been an issue. Like some of these other junior mining companies, but I think it really states the fact that we've got a lot of eyeballs on the story. And, coming into becoming a shareholder, there's certainly liquidity if one needs to essentially get out to liquidate or even buy additional position in the company. Location-wise, on the left here, the southern tip of the Golden Triangle, you can see all the other mines and deposits, discoveries made in the area. So we're in a very rich area of a lot of big discoveries, and within the SK Rift, which is a world-class geological setting, mining-friendly jurisdiction, and very amenable to mining in Canada. Here's a close-up of the Sherbet Zone. This is the new discovery that I talked about with this over 2 kilometers of mineralization exposed at surface. Majority of the drilling to date has taken place within that blue circle, Sherbet Zone, which is about 7 clicks to the west of the Dolly Varden access road. And so that takes you down to Alice Arm. You can see the town of Kitsault here in the yellow image. Essentially, that's a town that was built for the moly mine back in the 80s, which shortly went out of business. And we currently occupy that town during the seasons. It houses up to 300 people. You can drive here from Terrace, BC, which is about 3.5-hour drive. And then getting into Terrace, there's all sorts of flights going out of Vancouver, 3-4 flights a day, about an hour and a half north of Vancouver. And you can see here we've got tidewater on either side of the project. So, when it comes to a sort of a mining type scenario, one of the ways or cost-effective way to get the goods off the mountain and out to the market is barge access on either side of the project. Obviously, off to the west here is the closest avenue to get that barge access down to Prince Rupert, which is about 190 kilometers to the south, of which you've got rail that takes you right across Canada, or a deep sea port. You can ship material out the Pacific. And you can see we've got some pretty good neighbors here. Dolly Varden is here. The Homestake Ridge deposit is just up in this area here as well, and Teuton as well. So to date, again, we talked about this mineralization exposed at surface. This is the 2021-2022 drill program. We just did under 32,000 meters of drilling, of which 97% of these holes hit mineralization. This year, again, we drilled quite a few more. Well, basically double the meters that was initially announced, 18,000 up to 35,000 meters of drilling. And currently we've expanded. The Sherbet Zone now is footprints probably about 5.5 million cubic meters in size, and the Bonanza Shear now has been modeled at around 25 million cubic meters as well. We have done some early met work as well, and we're getting exceptional gold recoveries, about a 92.2% recovery at a 327 micron. So what does that tell us is we don't need a lot of power, energy to crush the material to extract the gold. And we're getting, close to 49% of that is free gold from gravity alone. So you could pour, doré bars on site once, a production type scenario is up and going. And so no cyanide required, no deleterious materials whatsoever at the system that we've currently tested. As well, the Colorado School of Mines, we've engaged them extensively. They have confirmed with us that the study they have completed is most likely a porphyry is the feeder source for all this high-grade gold, silver mineralization that brought all these fluids up to the surface that flooded the Sherbet Zone, the Bonanza Shear, and now the new Golden Gate Zone that we discovered late in this year. Again, here's just a quick image of the mineralization that we're seeing at surface for over a kilometer up the south slope. So this is looking north, basically peaks the mountain and goes down the north side again for another 1.1 kilometer. So you've got this high-grade shear, basically vein, with lots of galena, sphalerite, and pyrrhotite. And what we saw quite a bit this year, we had quite a bit of visible gold in a bunch of the holes. I think close to 40% of the holes had VG in it. And here's sort of the outcropping system from the discovery days back in 2019, 2020. And again, the mineralization, it's pretty easy, typical to understand. Even the drillers know when they're in the system. We've got like a siltstone unit and into a sandstone unit, and then you get this high-grade shear zone of galena, sphalerite, quartz, brecciation. and stock work. So it's quite good to have the obviously the drillers and folks giving us a call when to come up and check out the core when we do hit these zones. Here's our drilling from 2023. Again, just over 34,000 meters in total, and here's a cumulative image of all the holes, pierce points that we've drilled to date. So again, very high rate of visible gold in a number of the holes. Again, over 65,000 meters in total. 42% of the holes, they all contain visible gold. We had one hole, which was the best hole we've drilled to date. That was like a 513 gram meter hole. And so we've got basically this veining shear zone up in the sedimentary group, and then you've got the contact, which is the bonanza, and then below that you've got the Golden Gate zone. So here's a better image here, the model that we're currently updating as well with the help of some professionals, Archer Cathro, who specialize in doing this type of thing, and sort of honing in on getting the actual area, the mass of potential tonnage that we're seeing here. Again, for the I guess the geologist, engineer type folks, the density on this stuff is 2.903. So just between sherbet zone, modeling at just over 5.5 million cubic meters, and the bonanza shear at 25 million cubic meters. So it's quite a lot of tonnage as a potential resource down the road once we can increase the confidence level with all of the assays that are coming due here at some particular point. And then again, just to the south, or pardon me, just below the bonanza shear is a brand new area that we didn't know existed until, again, probably 2.5 weeks prior to the season ending. And so we've got a hole into here. Actually, that ran, was true width about to 9 meters, and that was about 35 grams gold equivalent. Again, majority of that being about 85, 80, 90% gold, and then some silver, and then the balance, some copper, a little bit of lead, and a little bit of zinc. So here's a cross section of what we just looked at in the previous image. So we've got the sherbet zone here up in the sedimentary group. We've got the bonanza shear, contact between the seds and the volcanics below, and then we've got our Golden Gate zone, and then remains open again for other stack type shear veining systems that we do see will be in the updated model once we get all the assays returned from the lab. And it does remain open at depth. Again, we believe there's a porphyry at depth here that brought all this mineralization to surface. Again, based on the study that Colorado School of Mines have done for us. Some folks think that the Golden Gate and sherbet zone were connected all at one piece at one particular point while the system was being formed, and then bonanza shear came up and sort of shifted things around and down. So Golden Gate does remain open up dip and down dip, and that will really be the primary focus for our 2024 drill program. And you can see we've got quite a few hits here that are over 149 gram meter holes. And again, we've got a bunch of holes still pending that have abundant visible gold that we anticipate should have decent results for us. Here's a bird's eye view looking down. So up here is the peak of the mountain. Here's where we see again that mineralization at surface for over 2 kilometers. And what this is telling us, there's obviously something going on here with all these high grade plus 100 gram meter holes kind of clustered along this little corridor here. So we do believe we're getting closer to the source as we're seeing a lot more chalcopyrite, which is the copper. Typically, you'll see more calco as you get closer to source versus up top near the peak here. We're not getting as much, and as we get down sort of the mountainside, we're seeing more calco in the drill core or from the assay results. Here's some images of this 513 gram meter hole. Again, that was 65 grams per ton gold equivalent, almost 8 meters. And another one hole, 157, a 485 gram meter hole. great grades, good intercepts, lots of visible gold, lots of galena, lots of sphalerite, lots of pyrrhotite. Hole 173, another 395 gram meter hole. And here's hole 197. This is the one from the volcanics at the Golden Gate zone. Again, that was 9 meters, 34 grams gold equivalency and true width. And again, the bulk of that is like almost an ounce of gold in that particular hole. One other thing we should talk about is the areas. Here's the shear bed zone right here. We can see the Bonanza shear. Actually, we can see it outcropping and then going beneath the surface and then outcropping again. So we've actually got this cirque in the mountain, so the mountain ridge behind us, about a kilometer, wrapped around. We did do some drilling in here at the Humdinger as well. The Kahuna zone about a click away to the north. We can see looks to be the Bonanza shear, just based on the level of where we're seeing the contact. So we put a bunch of holes into here as well to test those. So if they run any sort of grade and widths next from this year's program, we'll most likely be having to go back and drill test those just to see the extent of what's happening there, and possibly connect this whole area together with some of the unknown portions of the mountainside here, or below where the contact is. And then as well, down the outpost zone, we did, it's about 3.5 clicks away. And we did put some holes into here. Again, we think, same as far as the portion where we see the contact, outcropping, galena, sphalerite, and pyrrhotite, we drilled there as well. So again, possibly extending this another 3 kilometers at this particular juncture, but that will obviously need some more drilling. And then we have Full House, which is about 6.5 kilometers off to the northwest, which has got similar looking type mineralization outcropping for quite a few kilometers. Also, what's exciting for us is all the new claims that we did, or that we made on the ice fields to the north, the Cambria ice fields. So we just have under 62,000 hectares. We control 56 kilometers of this red line, which is an important contact point between the Stahina and Hazelton volcanics, where majority of the deposits in the Golden Triangle have actually been found within sort of 2 to 3 kilometers of either side of this line. And you can see it runs right through our property. And again, we control 56 kilometers. If you look at the Google Maps images, satellite images, this just looks like one big sheet of ice, but that's not the case. Obviously, with the glaciers melting, a permanent snowpack melting as well, we're finding brand new outcrops at surface that have never been tested before, never been drilled before. And so we've got 6 new zones, very prospective, where we're seeing lots of chalco, pyrrhotite, pyrite, and certainly when we put the XRF gun on the material, it was some pretty interesting things always on the reading machine. And so we're pretty excited to see the results here. And if they do have any kind of grade, then we'll be going and drilling those in 2024 as well. Again, these are areas of 500 by 400 meters outcropping at surface, where we're getting like big wide veins of mineralization, and we'll go and drill those next year, assuming that they run. And you can see there's a bunch of, the Port Idaho mine is right here, past producing mine, made lots of money back in the early 1900s. You've got Red Mountain as well. So again, another good area code to be in, and lots more new discoveries to happen, even over the coming years as well, because again, the glaciers melting here and new outcrops are being formed or being seen on a yearly basis. Well, here's some of the mineralization we're seeing at surface. Lots of shears, veins, massive chalco, pyrite, and basically this is really nice stuff to see. Here's some channel cuts that we took as well, and stay tuned for those, folks. And some channel cuts here. Here's our the full contact, basically a 1.3 kilometer Gossan. So we've mapped every all these new outcrops. We've mapped it, we've channel cut, we've sampled, and we know where we'll be putting drills assuming the mineralization is what we think it's going to be on these rocks we're seeing. Here's a quick image of the infrastructure down Prince Rupert for barge access, rail across Canada, and then out to this deep sea here. And then possible routes into the valley here. If you're in a mining scenario, you've got 3 possible routes off the Dolly Varden Access Road. You've got power close by as well. And then just off to the west here would be the closest route to get to barge access to take material off site. And then again, it would be underground, no cyanide required, no leaching, just a basic flotation gravity type of setup. We have talked to a number of the concentrate buyers around the world, showed them our specs, what we received from the folks doing that, PMC out of British Columbia, and they confirmed with us that we can get top dollar for this type of material pretty much anywhere in the world. And with that, I think I've got 10 minutes for questions. Okay. Strategic institutional. Yeah, I'll do the quick one here, easy one. Strategic institutional, they're under 10%, don't really want to be unnamed at this particular point until they go north of 10%. What attracted to Sprott and McEwen to invest in the projects? Basically, this is a world-class discovery that sits on tidewater. There's a town nearby. There's power. The metallurgy works. So we tick all the boxes for any senior miner looking to add to the portfolio. So I think they can see what's about to happen down the road as we continue to prove out on the system. Will we sell off any prospective areas in the companies? Yeah, so our game plan really is to possibly do a deal. I'm not saying it's going to happen, or I'm not making promises, but in a perfect scenario, door number 1 would be we do something with a sure bet with a senior miner and give them sort of 20 kilometers area of influence. And then we would spin out all the stuff to the north on the ice fields and our Lucky Strike property near Terrace into a new company, a private company that would dividend out to the shareholders, and then finance that. And that would be the next iteration of Goliath Resources, and finance that to go and find some new discoveries. Comments on Lucky Strike. Yeah, no, we still have an untested porphyry at Lucky Strike that will go back in 2024, and we'll go put in some deep holes in there, sort of 800,000 meter holes. Looks very, very good. I know Quentin Henning, when he was on site, he went there with no expectations and came away with, he was pretty excited about that particular area for drilling. More questions here. Okay, I've got some minutes. Is Goliath now a tier 1 gold resource? I mean, we're not a resource yet until obviously we put a 43-101 report together, and certainly with the amount of drilling that we've done to date, with the pierce points, some are 50 to 150 meters spacing apart. There's possibility to put together a measured indicated as well as an inferred on that, based on the continuity of the system, because it is so predictable, it's robust, and that certainly helps when you can see two kilometers of mineralization at surface wrapping around the mountain ridge. What else? Question here. I think I answered something about the Pogo mine. Yeah, no, I think Quentin was talking more about the Pogo mine, is the fact that just the dip that it's sitting at, and these guys are making lots of money doing that. And actually, we met with those fellows and talked about our system, and in their opinion, they thought that definitely could be that mineable, the Bonanza as well as Sherbet, no problem, and that particular down dip on the system. Yeah, so the tack for next year is obviously we're going to go back and we got to go drill the Golden Gate, because there's quite a bit of, it's unknown at this particular point how big it is, and does it actually lead to that porphyry, or is the porphyry sitting right below there? That will really be the focus for 2024 as we look to expand on the system, as well as the Bonanza Shear up to the north, towards the Kahuna Zone, as well as off to the Outpost and the Humdinger Zone to the south. So there's still a lot of untapped areas that this just seems to get bigger and bigger every year, and certainly at this point, we do feel this is just really the tip of the iceberg, and possibly again, if that porphyry's there, that will be a really, really nice surprise, and certainly have an exponential effect on I think our market cap in a big way, and as well as the news comes out on our 100 holes that are pending at the moment with an updated model care of Archer Cathro. I think people will be very, very pleased with as a shareholder, and the people that have written checks into the company to help move it down the path to really again expand on this world-class discovery, which I do believe will be a mine someday. I think that's all. How does the lay of the land compare to Dolly Varden or lay of the land? I'm not sure about the question about Dolly Varden, other than, I think the Sherbet, the type of mineralization we're seeing, it's be closer to the Homestake Ridge deposit, which they own now. It was previously owned by Fury. I think that area's got, there was a resource of about 1.3 million ounces at, I think it's around, I forget what the grades were, but certainly I know they drilled 40,000 meters last year, maybe 50,000 meters, and I think a lot of that was around the to see if they could expand on the on that Homestake Ridge, and obviously at the Dolly Varden, the main asset itself. And I think that's about it for questions. If there's any more, we got this brought. Good. Yeah, I think that's it, folks. Thanks very much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, my information is obviously on our webpage and also on the presentation. There we are. Thank you. Back here, so just reach out. Email's always the best way to reach me.